Three, two, one, we're rolling. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Key to the City podcast. I am your host, Keone G, or Yoni to most of you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Everybody that's been liking, sharing, commenting, whatever you've been doing to show your support, we surely appreciate it. And we're still going to continue to provide you with quality content, quality guests. And today is no different. I'm ecstatic today. I'm honored for the guest that we have today. I told you we was going to be talking more about election season as it's right around the corner. And it's probably the most important time to vote of our lifetime. And I have a gentleman, I have history in the building who's a part of that election this year for the state. He is the first African-American congressman from the state of Mississippi since the Reconstruction era. Wow. The former secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which was also the first black person to hold that position. Wow. That's history right there. He received almost 47% of the vote for the U.S. Senate in the 2018 special election, so we just fell a little bit short. Now he's running again in 2020 against Cindy Hyde-Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, folks, without further ado, please welcome to the city the legend, Mike ESPY. How you doing, sir?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Keone, and thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast, Key to the City.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. You deserve the key to the city.
Key to this election.
Yes, sir. That's
All
right. That's right. And I want to give you the proverbial key to the city because you definitely deserve it. You are a legend, and we want to give you your flowers while we have that opportunity. So let's just jump right into it.
Look, when you call people legends, that means they usually have gray hair. Okay.
Okay. And what am I looking at? There it is. Living legend in the flesh. So let's just jump right into it, Mr. ESPY. Now, as I stated earlier, you received 47% of the vote in 2018. How's your 2020 campaign going to differ from 2018 so we can bring this thing on home?
Okay. Almost 2 years ago, the former Senator Thad Cochran fell ill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in my office at my desktop computer, and it came across the screen that Thad Cochran had resigned.
Right.
I was okay. And that was March 2018.
Right.
So I said, "Oh Lord, I think I've always wanted to be a senator because it's not what you want to be, it's what you want to do."
Yes, sir.
And I thought I want to do a lot of good things for Mississippi that no one else had ever done in the Senate.
Yes.
So this was the opportunity. So without staff, without money, without a message, without support of any party, really, I'm a Democrat, but I jumped in.
Right.
Called my wife, and she blessed it. So within that same month, I announced, and
Wow.
we started. It was only 6 months from that
Wow.
day to election day, and we got 47% of the vote. Now I'm no math genius, but I know that 47 and 3 is 50, plus 1 is a victory.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right. So that's why we're running again. I know that we can win.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are enough votes, black and white, in Mississippi who want a new leader. They want a new vision. They want somebody that can help propel Mississippi past all of these problems that we have, health care and housing and criminal justice and education.
Yeah.
It pick us up from the bottom. So, that's why I'm running. So here's 3 things I'm going to do differently 2020 than 2018. Because you always have to learn from your mistake.
Yes, sir.
The biggest mistake last time was not of my choosing. We did not have the time for victory. We just didn't have the time, but now we do. And I haven't quit. So here's 3 things. One is there are a lot of young people who didn't know what I had done in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know I was the first black congressman, and I won that seat when I was 30.
Wow.
I started when I was 29. I was a cabinet secretary when I was 39. And now I'm the chairman of the board of a $400 million nonprofit, which provides money for low-income housing, first-time homeowners. We put medical clinics and we build medical facilities in areas that are medically underserved. We go into areas without grocery stores, and we build, fruit and vegetable opportunities,
Yes, sir.
And we give people loans to start their businesses and fulfill their dreams. I'm doing that now. And so we didn't have time in the last election to really get that message out. So the first thing is to tell the young folks that even though I have gray hair, I've walked the walk.
Yes, sir.
And I tell them stories now. I could get my stories out about my grandfather was, he came of age in the 1910s when there was no federal support about at all, when they were lynching black folks and killing us left and right. And so he started an organization called Afro-American Sons and Daughters, which was all about self-determination. We have to do it for ourselves.
Right.
So he started a little bank where you've heard of sharecroppers, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
the sharecroppers were mostly black. And when the crop came in, they have to share the crop with the plantation master.
Okay.
And my grandfather said, okay, you're cheating the sharecroppers. So his foundation gave loans to black farmers to buy their own seed, buy their own fertilizer, and paid the bank back, not the high interest rate from the plantation owner.
Right.
Then he started an insurance company. It's almost like work with the top. When you went to work and you hurt your arm or hurt your leg, there were no insurance companies back 1920 for black people. So he would actually, if you paid 50 cents a month, your injuries would be covered, almost like insurance companies today.
Yes, sir.
And then he said, I'm tired of our women having our babies in the cotton field. So he built a hospital, 36 beds, where I was born, in a hospital my grandfather built.
Wow.
I was born in 1953. That hospital was built in 1924, and it served black communities until 1970 for 50 years.
Wow.
So those are the stories I tell. So it's all about a legacy. So I stood on his shoulders, and when I get to the Senate and able to do some things about all the problems I mentioned to you, people can hopefully, I can be the bridge that others can come across. So the things I'm going to do different would be threefold. One is, number one, to not take young people for granted. Tell them my story. And number three, build the biggest, widest, deepest organization to turn out the vote that Mississippi has ever seen. And
Yes,
we're
sir.
doing that today.
Awesome. And when you're talking about not taking young people for granted,
yes,
I know that a lot of my peers, they seem like they're giving up on the voting process. They don't trust in the system anymore. They don't think their votes matter. But I try to tell them otherwise. But, I'm not a political scholar such as yourself. But do you still believe that voting is the most effective way to create change here in America? And how do we get that across to my demographic?
It's the most effective way because it's the quickest way. Mm-hmm. Because when you replace somebody, let's just say like Sidney Smith, the person I'm running against.
Right.
So she went to the Jefferson Davis Museum down in Gulfport in 2014. And she tried on the rebel cap. She tried on the rebel uniform. And she held up the little rebel rifle. And then when you have to make comments on your way out the door, she said that this was the best of Mississippi's history. Now that was 2014, right. Not 1914 or 1814. So who do you think would respond better to the issues and concerns of young black folks? Who do you think they could come to if they want more jobs, or if they want prescription drugs that cost less, or if they want their student debt to be lessened, or if they want a quicker path to go to college? Let's say they live in a neighborhood with potholes. Who do you think they would go to, Sidney Smith or Mike ESPY, who would help the mayors and the supervisors of these counties have money in their budgets to fill the potholes in the black neighborhoods? Who do you think would improve the housing stocks? And who do you think would help their children to live a better life? Me or her? So, I'm saying it's me.
Right.
It's the most effective way because it's the quickest way because you can get somebody out like that and put somebody in like that who knows you, who will be accessible, who will be available, who already understands, what they're going through. You don't have to explain as much. And that would be the best way to do it. So yes. And here in Mississippi, we have more black voters per capita than any state in the nation.
Right.
And most people don't know that. So all we have to do is tell the young folks listening to Key to the City the impact of voting on their lives and what it could be. My job is to connect the opportunities we're going to have in the U.S. Senate with directly improving their life here in Jackson and here in Mississippi. So that's my job. But they have to listen.
Yes,
they can't turn away. When my grandfather lived, we had 2 black senators way back then. 2 black senators because Mississippi's population was dominantly African American back then, and after the Civil War, after Reconstruction, and until like 1940, everybody left, started going to Chicago and Detroit and Milwaukee. Black people were had more population than anybody else, and we had 2 black senators way back then. But we had a new constitution, the 1890 Constitution, which called for the minimization of the black vote and the improvement of Jim Crow. And right away, those 2 black senators were gone. So elections, or who you put in office, in voting for the people who not just look like you, but who will vote your interest. That's the quickest way for folks your age to escalate. Yes, let's say healthcare. All right. There are a lot of folks in Mississippi that don't have medical insurance. So they're afraid to go to the doctor. They say, oh, Jesus, I pray that I don't get sick because I cannot pay that medical bill. And so when they have a hint of any injury coming on, or if they feel different one day than they did the day before, they are not as inclined to go to the doctor just for a checkup or to get a primary screening because they know they cannot pay the bill. So the main issue in my campaign is to improve medical insurance.
Okay.
Some people call it Medicaid expansion. I don't care what you call it. Some people call it Obamacare, whatever you call it. The result is to improve medical insurance for the low-income people of Mississippi. It's 90% paid for by the federal government, 90%. And when I go to the Senate, the first thing I want to do is waive the other 10%. So it'll be 100% paid for by the federal government. So if you have an elbow injury or a knee injury, or you want to know how not to be so obese, or you want nutrition information, or you might have the onset of diabetes, all you got to do is go to the doctor and that bill will be paid for by the federal government through the Medicaid program. And 211,000 people, the day after it's done, we have medical insurance. So that's why who you vote for is so important, because Cindy Hyde Smith is part of a group that filed a lawsuit to repeal Medicaid expansion. She wants to take away Obamacare. She wants to take away those with pre-existing injuries. Right now, if you have a chronic illness and you get insurance, the insurance company can say, okay, we're going to cover you for all of your other injuries from today to the future. But we're not going to cover the injuries from today to the past.
Right.
That's pre-existing. I believe in making the insurance companies, the day you get the insurance, they got to cover you whatever it started, whatever time it started, the past, the present, or the future. That's what I believe in. And that's part of Obamacare. She doesn't believe that. So who do you think should go to the Senate, me or her. Well, and so the only way to switch that, to put me in and her out, is votes.
That's right.
We took down the flag. We got to take her down now.
That's right.
Put her to that museum that she likes so much.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad you hit on that. Mainly speaking on what's going to be your first priority of business with the healthcare. Speaking of healthcare and all the uproar that COVID-19 has caused and all the uncertainty, how do you think that's going to impact voter turnout this election season?
Well, I am concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Black folks like to go to the polls personally. Okay,
Right.
I know that.
Right.
I know I do. I want to see my ballot go in the box.
Yes,
I want to feel in a tactile way. I want to feel my finger hit that digital slot.
Right.
You know, it's something about your mental intent coming through your fingers and hitting that slot.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you fulfill the legacy of Fannie Lou Hamer and Medgar Evers. You know,
right.
So
Yes,
I understand. So I am concerned because now we have the COVID pandemic. So I'm going to tell you, like Michelle Obama said the other night at the Democratic convention, you have to make a plan to go vote. Everybody has to make a plan, and you have to vote early. Here in Mississippi, we do have some challenges because we're not like a lot of other states where we have early voting. You know, in Mississippi, we have early voting, but it's only for people who are age 65 or disabled. You can actually go and physically vote early after September 21st. So we're telling all the folks in that sector to go early. All right. But we also have Mississippi absentee voting. So, if you know you're gonna be on vacation, are not available to vote directly, or you have COVID symptoms, you're able to vote by absentee ballot. And so we're encouraging everybody, and those absentee ballots can be voted early. Okay, you can go in there and vote absentee ballot early. Okay, so I'm gonna do like Michelle Obama, tell everybody to get a plan to vote and vote early. And then on election day, bring your mask and bring your gloves if you want gloves. Put on your flat shoes because you might have to wait. But please, sir, please, ma'am, go vote and vote early.
That's right. No excuses this season. We can't have it this season.
No excuses. Absolutely.
Key to the City podcast. We have Mike ESPY with us. Just a few more questions, Mr. ESPY. I know you're busy, man. I just want to hit on two topics. You mentioned earlier about the proposed changes to the flags, which you've always been an advocate for. Yes. How do you feel about how far it's come thus far?
I think it's great. I was in the Senate to hear the debate when they were discussing taking down the flag, and I was there for the vote, and I got goosebumps. Goosebumps. Yes, I got goosebumps, man, because I remembered Aaron Henry, who is dead now, but he was head of the NAACP and a state legislator when all of this started. I thought about him, and I thought about Fannie Lou Hamer. I thought about Medgar Evers, who was shot in the back, just like Mr. Blake. Day before yesterday, shot in the back while he was getting out of his car to go in his house. Ku Klux Klansman was laying in wait across the street and shot him and killed him. So all of those efforts of all of those civil rights pioneers to take down that symbol happened with a vote. Okay? So I'm really happy about it. I don't care which design they choose, as long as we don't get that Confederate banner back.
Right.
So the one with the shield or one with the magnolia, I don't care.
That's right.
We've done 90% of it, as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
We'll vote for one of them, and that's be the one that I'll salute. I never could salute the other one.
That's right. There it is. And I guess my last question for you, I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Blake and the Mr. Blake shooting. It just seems like it's occurring more often than not. How can we improve relations between law enforcement, and citizens in general, but more specifically the African American community?
Let me tell you a story, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
I've got two sons. This story is about one of them. I've got a son who played at Madison Central. He went to Ole Miss. He was a standout wide receiver for Eli Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted to the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Football Club, I guess they call it.
Yes, sir.
And he got hurt after 3 years. He was playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was in the stadium. He went out for a pass. And even though he had never been hurt before, he was extremely fast. And he was going down the sideline like, and the quarterback threw him a pass. There was nobody within 20 yards of him. And I told my wife, Mike's will make a touchdown, his first NFL touchdown. And when that ball hit his finger, his left knee crumpled. The knee just like exploded. And he tumbled on that field. And I told my wife, my goodness, he won't recover from that. So I went downstairs, I met him. Next day he had orthoscopic surgery, and he never got that speed back. And they cut him, So after they cut him, he came back to Mississippi. And he opened a gym in Gluckstadt. All right, so one day, his specialty is training young athletes to run faster so they can qualify for college, get a scholarship, and maybe go to the pros. All right. So he runs a gym called D1. It's called Division I. So one day he was training one of the young men. It wasn't in his gym. It was in a private gym. And Mike was a member. It was after 9 p.m. And there were only 3 people in the gym. And I'm going to connect this with your question.
Okay.
It was 3 people in the gym. It was my son. Okay. It was the athlete he was training. There was an off-duty white resident police officer.
Okay.
He was in street clothes. He was working out.
Right.
And so my son likes to curse.
Right.
When he is trying to emphasize people to lift more weight. So he was using a couple of choice curse words.
Right.
Like lift more weight, doggone it,
Yeah, yeah.
And so the policeman, we didn't know it was a policeman. He came and told my son, you need to quit cursing in here. Okay, now he had on gym clothes.
Right. Come on, man.
He said, I'm a member of this gym just like you. If I want to curse, it's but 3 people in here, I want to curse. So he turned and he cursed more. So the policeman said, I'm a resident policeman. And I guess Mike didn't believe it. And then the guy said, I'm going to have you arrested if you keep cursing. And my son said, well, hell, do it then. And within 15 minutes, there were 3 police cruisers.
3 of them.
3 came into that gym. They put my son in handcuffs. My son, this is 2012. Put him in a police cruiser, booked him, took him to jail overnight. An NFL athlete, a member of that gym, after 9 o'clock, he's not in uniform. He doesn't have a badge. There's no law being violated. The son of a congressman, the son of a cabinet secretary. When he saw ESPY, you got to know something. Ain't that many?
Yeah, got to.
So what I want to say is it doesn't matter who his father was, who his father did. Doesn't matter about NFL. Doesn't matter. That policeman had inherent bias. He saw an African-American man doing something he didn't like.
He didn't like it. All right.
He arrested him and took him to jail. Okay? Now, I'm thankful my son didn't get shot. I'm so thankful my son is still alive. But I can certainly connect with George Floyd. I can certainly connect with Mr. Blake. I can certainly connect with Breonna.
Right.
all of those recently who were at the wrong end of policemen who had inherent bias.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot of things we can do. So I want to do the 3 T's: better police tactics,
Mm-hmm.
better police training, and more transparency. Okay, let's start with transparency. Uh, if a policeman has complaints against him or her, particularly if those complaints involve a racial situation or evolved in a racial context, particularly where that policeman was penalized, there's a report on file. And we have to know that.
Okay.
So when that policeman is hired from another jurisdiction,
Mm-hmm.
we have to know, where is your file?
Yes, sir.
Where is your file? How many times have you been written up? And that file must go to a central depository in Washington. So just hit that computer and we'll see if you have arrest him or her. If it's a racial context, he or her may not get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, you got to hire more African Americans or more men and women of color, because they understand the context of law enforcement. My wife's brother is a policeman in Louisiana. I already know there'd be no way in hell, even if someone counterfeited $20, or even if someone had a domestic altercation with their loved one or their significant other, he would never put his knee on their neck.
Right.
I know he wouldn't. So we need more men and women of color. So and then training. We need training in de-escalation. So if there's a domestic dispute like what I've read about Mr. Blake, there is no way that ought to escalate into him being shot 7 times in the back. There is no way. There's no way if you sell counterfeit cigarettes that you ought to be choked to death.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way if you're in a domestic altercation that you ought to be. There's no way. So we need to train the policemen in how to solve hostile situations without the use of their guns. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So that goes into training, bias training, and de-escalation training. And then lastly, tactics. I believe in banning the chokeholds. That ought to be banned. I believe in banning no-knock warrants. I mean, we have advanced so far now in technology that there's no way that a policeman should ever go to a house and not know who's inside.
Right. Yes, sir.
Like you ought to tell them they went to the wrong house. They went to the wrong house.
Sir.
And they shot that house and she got hit by a stray bullet and killed. So when I go to the supermarket, if I want to get a certain brand of water, and on the way back out, I get a message on my cell phone saying, here's all the waters that you could have bought. We know who's in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that no-knock warrants ought to be outlawed. I believe chokeholds should be outlawed. And so there's a lot of things. So I believe that every policeman should have on a camera that's put on 24/7.
Yeah.
On their body. There is no way any police force in America should be so poor that they cannot have cameras. We have enough money in our federal budget to equip every policeman with cameras.
Right.
So more cameras, turned on 24/7, better tactics, more transparency, and better training. That is my recipe for getting rid of all this foolishness.
Yes, sir. I'm with that 100%, Mr. ESPY. How can my audience follow you? How can they contribute to the campaign?
All they have to do is go to ESPY4Senate.com. And the ESPY is easy because all they have to say is ESPY Awards. Everybody knows what the ESPY Awards are, right?
Okay. Right.
So it's the same, spelled the same way ESPY was. In fact, I gave the first ESPY award. I did. I was secretary.
What?
I did. In my office, I was secretary of agriculture.
Uh-huh.
In the ESPN sent a camera crew to my office. I gave the first award, ESPY. Mike ESPY gave the first ESPY award. I did. This guy. So all they have to do is go to ESPY for Senate. FORSNAT, and click on, and you'll see a big red link. And it says donate. And you don't have to donate. I want as much as possible, of course, but you can give $1. If I get $1 from 2,000 people, I have $2,000.
That's right.
So I was on MSNBC the other day, and I said something about go to ESPY for Senate. And in 40 minutes after I left this segment, we got $50,000 from people who had given $5.
Wow.
$10, $1, $50,000. So this thing multiplies so fast. So I'm on the ballot with Benny Thompson. I'm on the ballot with Latrice Westbrook. I'm on the ballot with Joe Biden. I'm on the ballot with Harris. And so I'm asking the folks to go and vote for all of us, because we all have to go in, support all the Democrats in Mississippi.
Absolutely.
You need money. Okay. I need the money now to get on the air.
Yes, sir.
Because,
that's right.
Yep.
I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure my audience follows, supports, and votes. You got my vote. Anything that my platform can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And once again, I thank you for the opportunity to sit down with a legend, even with the gray hair. That's right.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Mr. ESPY.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You, and let's go vote, okay?
Yes, sir. We got you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.